Imagine this. You wake up tomorrow, and the world is exactly as you wished. Perfect order, predictable outcomes. Every desire anticipated and fulfilled before you even feel the pang. No struggle, no uncertainty. Just smooth, seamless comfort. Safety, control. Now feel it. That creeping sensation. Not relief, but dread. A suffocating tightness in your chest. A whisper rising from some dark, forgotten cell within you. Break it. Smash it. Feel something real, even if it's pain. Why? Why does the paradise we chase feel like a prison the moment we glimpse its gates? We spend our lives yearning for freedom, for happiness, for meaning. We build systems, political, economic, technological, even psychological, designed to secure these things. We're told rationality is our compass, self-interest our engine. Enlightenment thinkers promised us, understand the world, master your passions, and you master your fate. Progress is inevitable. Happiness is achievable. Order is king. But look around. Look within. Why the relentless self-sabotage? Why choose the path we know leads to suffering? Why does the forbidden fruit hold such irresistible power? Why, when offered peace, do we so often choose chaos? Why does the promise of heaven feel empty, while the edge of the abyss feels terrifyingly alive? What if everything we've been told about human nature, that we're rational actors seeking pleasure and avoiding pain, is not just incomplete but fundamentally wrong? What if our deepest need isn't comfort, but something far more terrifying? Something irrational, defiant, almost self-destructive? What if the very thing we build to save ourselves becomes a cage we rage against? This isn't a modern malaise. It's the ancient, echoing scream of the human soul. And over a century ago, in the smoldering ashes of Siberian exile and the fevered streets of St. Petersburg, one man heard that scream with terrifying clarity. He didn't just observe human nature. He plunged into its darkest, most contradictory depths and surfaced with truths that scalded the soul. Fyodor Dostoyevsky. He didn't offer easy answers. He offered something far more valuable and far more disturbing, the unbearable mirror. He saw the glorious, terrifying contradiction beating at the heart of every human being. And he dared ask, what if our freedom is defined not by our pursuit of happiness, but by our terrifying, inescapable need to choose, even when choosing means choosing our own suffering? What if the truth isn't light, but a blinding, beautiful darkness? That itch, that urge to smash the perfect vase just to hear it shatter, that's not an aberration. It's the core, the hidden engine beneath the polished surface of civilized man. Dostoyevsky didn't just see it. He diagnosed it with brutal precision. We aren't broken machines. We're creatures fundamentally at war with the very paradise we claim to desire. Why? Because we are not just rational. The Enlightenment dream, the triumph of reason, the calculus of self-interest maximizing pleasure, minimizing pain, is a beautiful, dangerous lie. It treats us like predictable cogs. But Dostoyevsky's genius was to expose the underground, the dark, irrational cell of the soul where reason is not king, but a pawn. He saw that our deepest, most defining drive isn't towards comfort or even survival in the simple sense. It's towards freedom. Not freedom to something, but freedom even from our own well-being. The freedom to say no to the mathematical certainty of 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. The freedom to choose suffering, if that suffering proves we're not a piano key, played by natural laws or societal pressures. Carl Jung would later name this hidden force the shadow, the repressed, chaotic, unacceptable parts of ourselves we bury. Dostoyevsky didn't need the term. He lived it through his characters. Raskolnikov, Stavrogin, Ivan Karamazov. They aren't just criminals or nihilists. They are men whose buried, irrational selves erupt with volcanic force, shattering the illusion of rational control. They are driven by a need to assert their existence, their individual will, against the crushing weight of logic, morality, or even God. It's not pleasure they seek in crime or self-destruction. It's the terrifying thrill of absolute, defiant autonomy. Friedrich Nietzsche, echoing Dostoyevsky's underground cry, declared the will of power as fundamental. The drive not just to survive, but to assert, to overcome, to impose one's existence. Comfort is stagnation. Suffering, Nietzsche argued, is the crucible of greatness. But Dostoyevsky went deeper into the abyss. He saw the terrifying flip side. When this will assert one's individuality faces a meaningless universe, as Ivan does, it risks spiraling into destructive nihilism, the ultimate no, screamed into the void. Viktor Frankl, surviving the ultimate negation of humanity in the camps, witnessed Dostoyevsky's truth firsthand. Humans can endure almost any how if they have a why, but remove the why, the meaning, the purpose that justifies suffering, and the underground impulse turns inward, becoming self-annihilation, or outward, becoming cruelty. This is a hidden problem. We are meaning-seeking animals trapped between our rational aspirations and our irrational, defiant need for sovereign will. Society, technology, even our own minds try to box us into predictability, safety, and pleasure maximization. But our Dostoevskian soul rages against this reduction. We'd rather be wrong, be damned, be in pain, than be a mere equation. We need to prove we exist, that we choose, even if the choice is ruinous. This isn't mental illness. It's a human condition laid bare. And this buried war, this subterranean rebellion against the tyranny of reason and comfort, it doesn't stay hidden. It leaks out. It poisons everything. It shapes the very fabric of our lives and our world in ways we barely perceive until it's too late. This war within us doesn't stay confined to the underground. It seeps out, invisible, shaping every choice, every relationship, the very air we breathe. We become unwitting actors in tragedy written by our own buried contradictions. Dostoyevsky's nightmare isn't fiction. It's the operating system running beneath the surface of our supposedly rational world. We're not the rational captains of our souls we imagine. Our brains are battlegrounds. Cognitive biases, shortcuts evolved for survival, become weapons in the underground's revolt. We seek information confirming our buried rage, confirmation bias. We sabotage success because achieving the rational goal feels like surrender to the very system we unconsciously despise. We cling to destructive beliefs because changing them feels like annihilating a piece of our defiant, suffering self, the backfire effect. Comfort becomes boredom, triggering a search for any sensation. Even negative social media storms, reckless thrill-seeking, or manufactured outrage, just to feel alive again. The dopamine hit of conflict momentarily silences the scream of meaninglessness. Societally, the consequences are devastating. Our desperate need for meaningful struggle gets perverted. We don't build. We rage against machines, political tribes, faceless corporations, abstract systems, finding a twisted sense of purpose in the fight itself, regardless of the cause. Consumerism promises fulfillment, but delivers only the hollow ache of the underground, demanding ever more extreme purchases to spark any feeling. Technology, promising connection and ease, becomes a perfect cage. Algorithms, coldly rational, learn to exploit our deepest irrationalities, our fears, our tribal instincts, our craving for sensation, feeding us content that inflames the underground while promising to soothe it. We become puppets, mistaking the jerking of our strings for authentic movement. The ultimate consequence? A profound, pervasive sickness of the soul. Not dramatic breakdowns, but a quiet erosion, a numbness that sets in when the defiant spark is constantly suppressed or perversely channeled. A crushing sense of alienation, even amidst crowds. We feel trapped by systems we built for our own comfort, haunted by a longing for something real. Even if that reality is harsh, uncertain, painful. We sense the strings, feel the invisible walls of the gilded cage, but lack the language, the courage, or even a belief that escape is possible. We become, as Dostoyevsky's underground man prophesied, acutely conscious, but completely powerless. This isn't just personal misery. It's civilizational drift. We chase progress defined by efficiency and pleasure, yet find ourselves more anxious, more divided, more fundamentally lost than ever. The paradise we engineered feels sterile, meaningless. The underground fury, denied healthy expression, festers and metastasizes. We are sleepwalking towards a collective breaking point, driven by forces we refuse to acknowledge, forces Dostoyevsky mapped over a century ago. The cage feels absolute, the strings unbreakable. But what if the key wasn't outside? What if the rebellion wasn't against the world, but within the very nature of the prison itself. The cage feels absolute, the strings unbreakable. But Dostoyevsky didn't just map the prison. He smuggled out the blueprints for rebellion. The escape doesn't lie in smashing the external world. That's just another puppet show, another act of the underground rage. True freedom begins with a terrifying, paradoxical act, embracing the burden of your own unbearable consciousness, choosing your boulder, your suffering, your meaning. Dostoyevsky's rebels aren't revolutionaries with manifestos. They are individuals who stare into the void and choose. Kirillov chooses suicide not from despair, but as the ultimate, irrational act of will, proving his freedom from the fear of death itself. Father Zosima chooses radical, active love and responsibility, shouldering the suffering of the world not as punishment, but as a sacred burden. Alyosha chooses faith after witnessing the deepest doubt, embracing the terrifying uncertainty with open arms. Their rebellion isn't against society first. It's against the tyranny of their own despair, their own nihilism, their own underground impulses turned destructive. They choose their why. This is a counterintuitive shift. Freedom isn't found in escaping responsibility or suffering. It's found in consciously, deliberately choosing them. Viktor Frankl's logotherapy, Forged in the Camps, echoes this. Between stimulus and response, there's a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Dostoyevsky's characters find that space, however small, even on the edge of madness. They stop reacting blindly from the underground and start responding from a place of terrifying, chosen awareness. How do you rebel? 1. Face the underground. Stop rationalizing your self-sabotage, your rage, your numbness. Acknowledge the shadow within. Say, this too is me. This is an indulgence. It's disarmament. 2. Choose your suffering. What burden will you carry? Not the one imposed by algorithms, expectations, or fear, but the one you deem worthy. The suffering of creation, of deep connection, of fighting for a principle, of facing uncomfortable truths. This chosen burden becomes your anchor, your why. 3. Defy the algorithm of the soul. Act against your conditioned impulses. Choose silence over noise. Choose vulnerability over armor. Choose empathy over outrage. Choose the difficult conversation over the easy escape. Choose presence over distraction. Every conscious act against the grain weakens the puppet strings. For embrace the sacred in spite of, like Alyosha, find your act of love, your fragment of faith, your defiant commitment in spite of the chaos, the doubt, the absurdity. It doesn't need to be grand. It needs to be yours. Water the flower. Listen deeply. Create something true. This isn't happiness. It's something deeper, harder, more real. Sovereignty. It's Nietzsche's more fatty. Loving your fate. Choosing what is yours. It's Sisyphus finding meaning in the struggle itself. Dostoyevsky shows us the path isn't out of the darkness, but through it, carrying your own chosen light. The rebellion isn't victory over the world. It's a relentless, conscious act of choosing your burden, your battle, your meaning within it. You reach for happiness. You grasp for control. You build walls against the chaos. And yet, the deepest ache remains. That flame within you, the one Dostoyevsky saw flickering in every tortured soul, it isn't crying out for comfort. It isn't begging for an end to suffering. It's seeking something else entirely. Something so fundamental, so terrifyingly beautiful, it redefines what it means to be human. Dostoyevsky's ultimate truth is this. Our capacity for suffering is not our curse. It's a signature of our divinity. That terrifying freedom, that irrational urge to choose the abyss, that unbearable consciousness. These aren't flaws in the design. They are the design. They are the raw materials of meaning itself. Think of Ivan Karamazov, intellect shattered by the suffering of children. His rebellion against God a scream of unbearable empathy. His torment is a sacred fire. Think of Raskolnikov, crushed by guilt, his descent into hell the only path toward a terrible, cleansing grace. His suffering becomes his redemption. Their agony isn't meaningless. It's the crucible where the false self burns away, revealing the raw, trembling core of a being capable of infinite depth. Dostoyevsky shows us The path to the sacred runs straight to the heart of the profane. Our wounds are not weaknesses to be healed, but portals to the depths of existence. This is a paradigm shift. Meaning isn't found. It's forged. It's not delivered by gods, systems, or algorithms. It's hammered out on the anvil of your own conscious suffering, your own defiant choices in the face of the void. Your freedom isn't the freedom from suffering, but the freedom to infuse your suffering with significance. To say, this pain, I choose it for the sake of that love. This burden, I bear for the sake of that truth. This uncertainty, I embrace it for the sake of that potential. Dostoyevsky understood human nature better than anyone because he saw beyond the animal seeking pleasure, beyond a rationalist seeking order. He saw the spark of the eternal within the finite, suffering creature. He saw that our greatest terror, the burden of consciousness, the freedom to choose damnation, is simultaneously our only path to salvation. To be fully human is to stand at the precipice, feel the vertigo of the abyss, and choose to turn that terror into active love, defiant creation, or sacred responsibility. To embrace the beautiful, terrible paradox. We are dust, and we contain universes. We are broken, and our brokenness is how the light gets in. So look into your darkness. Don't flinch. Don't rationalize. Feel the terrifying weight of your freedom. Then choose. Choose the burden that sets your soul alight. Choose the suffering that means something. Choose to be the flawed, fractured, fiercely burning candle in the vast, indifferent dark. For in that choice, however small, however painful, lies the unbearable, magnificent beauty of being truly, devastatingly, divinely human.